Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started, and we kick things off tonight with a look at the forecast because it is an important weekend heading our way. Let's get outside to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. And Jeremy, you're saying at least the first half of the weekend is going to be really nice.
Yeah, the first half is great, but take a look at this beautiful sunset here. Absolutely gorgeous, and temperatures still on the warm side. We're going to slowly cool down, and keep in mind this will be slightly reminiscent of what we'll see come Monday, a somewhat slow cool down. Notice between about 5 p.m. when we hit our peak and now a drop of about, say, 10 degrees. Keep that in mind as we head through the next little bit. Rain chances do ramp up though Sunday and Monday. That is going to play a role in what we wind up seeing come the 4th of July. Next couple days though, kind of warm. Nothing but sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures in the mid 80s, upper 80s on Saturday. And then as we get into the day on Sunday, it does look like we are going to see a few isolated rumbles of thunder work their way in. That's something we are going to keep a very close eye on, because as those storms work their way toward us, that's going to be something to watch. One of those ones where you'll be able to see them off in the distance before they work their way in. And when it comes to the 4th of July, here it is. Temperatures in the 70s. We'll hit that high around 5 p.m. Scattered showers throughout the day, but once the sun goes down, I think we dry out, and I'll let you know why coming up in the full forecast.
All right, we'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. Jeremy, thank you very much. Well, with gas prices on the rise, there's been an increase in gas being siphoned from vehicles, even one just sitting in a neighborhood driveway. It happened to a woman named Sharon Walsh yesterday. She said she went out to grab some dinner and she saw the gas just pouring out of her car. She said several holes had been drilled into her gas tank. Walsh, no doubt frustrated, and says it's not going to be a cheap fix.
It's just too scary and I'm 80 years old, and I really cannot afford to get a new car. And someday they're going to damage it bad enough that I won't be able to drive it.
Well, right now, Walsh says her car is getting fixed in the shop, hoping to repair the holes in that gas tank. Also new tonight, a Smelterville woman is in jail charged with killing her boyfriend. It happened yesterday at the woman's home. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk spoke with neighbors this evening about the couple and the alleged murder.
Stephanie Paris is locked up in the Shoshone County Jail right behind me. Deputies say she shot and killed her boyfriend, Aaron Peterson, and hid his body in their bedroom for 2 days, even telling the people they lived with he just wasn't feeling well.
He had a very big heart. Aaron would do anything for anyone, including his girlfriend.
And Aaron Peterson had an important job at the Bunker Hill mine.
His job was a hoist operator, so he was the only individual on site that is trained and certified to drop the men beneath the surface.
So when Aaron didn't show up for work or even call this Tuesday, his friend and coworker David Creedman thought it was odd. When it happened again on Wednesday,
there was something very wrong.
He went to Aaron's house in Smelterville. No one answered, but he could hear someone inside and noticed the front window was broken. Alarmed, he called Shoshone County deputies and asked for a welfare check. They pulled up to the couple's home at 8:45 that morning and started knocking. A few minutes later, they heard a woman's voice inside. According to court documents, Paris told them Aaron was in the shower and they didn't need to worry.
He had made a comment to her that we're not going away until we lay eyes on Aaron.
Hours passed and still no sign of Aaron. By 11 a.m., deputies told Paris they were getting a search warrant, to which she said, quote, "If you kick that door open, you're going to be dead. I'll shoot you," according to court documents. Paris eventually came outside, and deputies with a search warrant in hand went in looking for Aaron. They found his covered body in the couple's bedroom. He'd been shot multiple times.
Absolute anger is what we felt, and then heartbreak.
When questioned by detectives, Paris said she'd been taunted by voices and feelings in her head that took over her body, according to court documents. Paris said she shot Aaron the day before while he was sleeping. The couple lives with Paris's son, wife, and their 4-month-old baby. She told them Aaron was staying in the bedroom because he was sick, according to court documents. Neighbors say Paris struggled with mental health issues. Creedman says Aaron sometimes showed up to work with bruises, but would often defend his girlfriend of 10 years.
What could we have done different? It's not that we didn't recognize it, because we did. The senseless acts that took place in that house affects everybody.
Paris made her first court appearance this afternoon. She's charged with murder, failure to report a death, and obstructing deputies. Her bail is set at $500,000. In Wallace, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Today, Spokane regional leaders are reaffirming their message to the community that violent crime will not be tolerated.
Criminals who perpetuate violence in our community know no boundaries. That's why we are here with our regional partners, to go after those who are wreaking havoc in our neighborhoods, on our streets, and in our communities.
From January up until last Saturday, SPD has responded to 81 total shootings. More than half are drive-by shootings. At this rate, Mayor Woodward believes that we are on track to surpass last year's total shootings, which she says was the highest in 6 years. At a press conference today, Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich blamed state lawmakers for taking away tools from law enforcement, he said, that help keep violent offenders off the streets. Meantime, the Board of County Commissioners just gave the Sheriff's Office $100,000 to fund deputy overtime. The mayor of Spokane Valley said she'll also be asking City Council to allocate $100,000 to law enforcement overtime as well. Washington Governor Jay Inslee has signed an order to the State Patrol to not assist any investigation requests related to abortion from out-of-state law enforcement agencies. The directive follows the decision from the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. It comes as a part of Washington's push to be a safe state for abortion care. The order will also provide protection to people seeking an abortion in Washington from prosecution in their home state that may have bans on abortion. Inslee has also approved $1 million to help reproductive care clinics handle the increased number of patients coming to Washington state. Well, we are following new details about the shooting that sent a Spokane police officer to the hospital on Sunday. Officers were responding to several drive-by shootings in North Spokane when one officer was shot in the head and in the leg. New court documents show the suspect's getaway car, which we just saw, a Chrysler 300, was stolen and had been carjacked at gunpoint the day before. Documents also show that police saw a large quantity of drugs in the car, specifically Mexis, which are counterfeit OxyContin pills with fentanyl. The suspects in the case remain in jail. The officer was released from the hospital and is recovering at home. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Turning now to national headlines. This morning, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling curbing the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to fight climate change. The court sided with a group of Republican-led states and coal mining companies in a decision that could have broad implications for the environment. It limits the EPA's capacity to broadly regulate carbon emissions from existing power plants. Governor Inslee responding this afternoon.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much.
Well, a historic moment in American history. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn into the Supreme Court today. Justice Stephen Breyer has officially retired. Judge Jackson is the 116th justice in history and the first black woman on the nation's high court. Another decision made by the Supreme Court today, the Biden administration can end the immigration policy known as Remain in Mexico. The policy started under the Trump administration to make asylum seekers wait in Mexico for hearings in U.S. immigration courts. The ruling, though, will have little immediate impact because the policy hasn't actually been applied that much under President Joe Biden. Well, a warning from Spokane's two largest hospital systems today. We are still living with COVID and hospitalizations are going up. Today, there are 85 patients in Spokane area hospitals with COVID, and they expect to see hospitalizations continue to rise in the next few weeks as a result of 4th of July celebrations and travel. This as hospitals work to keep up with trauma cases while struggling with staffing.
It's not as virulent, so as many people aren't getting admitted, but more people may be getting infected. And so we see it in our employees, people getting sick and not being able to come to work. In the nursing homes that we refer to, that's getting to be a challenge of moving patients out of the hospital because there's staffing problems with that.
Meantime, testing sites in the Spokane area also reporting an uptick in demand for testing. Meanwhile, U.S. regulators told COVID-19 vaccine makers today that any booster shots will have to be tweaked for the fall to add protection against different COVID strains. The FDA says that the original vaccines will still be used for anyone still getting their first series of shots. The change comes as immunity is waning and Omicron and other variants are getting better at dodging vaccine protection. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. We are taking a closer look at the boat crash that killed one person and left 3 people missing on the Pend Oreille River. We'll hear from witnesses who saw the moment it happened. We are back in just 90 seconds.